Welcome to the ThunderCast, your Marshall Athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans, with your hosts, Russ Livingood and KD Hudnall. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week, so keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose. Thanks for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast. You can follow us on Twitter at ThunderCast_pod and watch the show on the ThunderCast YouTube channel and listen on just about every podcast streaming platform. We are literally everywhere. KD Hudnall with you and Russ Livingood back for, let's give it a big exhale. The herd notched themselves a much-needed victory this past weekend, and we're going to get into all of it, man, because it was an awesome game, I'm sure, from inside Joan C. Edwards Stadium, but it was equally as entertaining to watch on TV from some 900 miles away. But, of course, before we can get into any of it, we've got to pay a few bills. So give me a word from our sponsors at Leasure Oliver PLLC.
If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Find them at 304carwreck.com.
Russ, before we get into the game and all the awesomeness that took place between the whistles during the game, it was an absolutely gorgeous Saturday in Huntington, West Virginia. It was the day that I needed a week prior. I had a lot of fun nonetheless, but man, I was jealous of you guys. And I deal with a metric buttload of sunshine down here, but it looked absolutely gorgeous in Huntington.
It was, man. Great weather. It was sunny, but not too hot. You know, it wasn't in the 90s. It was close. Wasn't in the 90s. Felt really great. Just an absolute beautiful day. Totally opposite of what it was the prior week with the early rain and everything. And it was good. It was good.
Yeah, it looked it. I mean, you guys, you looked like the tailgate was a good time. It was nice to be able to pop in for ThunderCast Live, albeit remotely. I dug the new setup. Jed had a brand new kind of not a half screen like we're doing here. I was just a blip up in the corner, which I thought really made the overall vibe of the show a lot better. I felt like it was more of a in-game, like at the game vibe, and instead of, oh, look, there's KD in his office. He's not at the game at all. It was a lot better. So that was a really cool change. But let's talk football, man. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well,
I thought you had something to say, maybe about the football game.
I have a lot of somethings to say, but I just didn't want to start hogging the whole thing. But I can get into the particulars, do the indicators, and then get your overall impression before I get into some players. So let's go with that. It was a 38-7, very convincing win for the herd. Brings Marshall to 1-2 on the season in front of 23,925 fans at Joan C. Edwards Stadium. Of course, doesn't matter what the score was, doesn't matter what the yardage was, who did what in the game. The big news of the game, it was the first career victory for head coach Tony Gibson, and the Marshall-Gibson era is now officially underway after getting that first win. It was a big one. Total yards, time of possession, first downs, third downs, penalties, and turnovers are the indicators we always talk about. This one went the way you might have thought the score indicated. It was one of those games. 377 to 102 on the total yards tally in favor of the herd. Time of possession, 34:04 to Eastern Kentucky's 25:56 edge herd. First downs 21-10 edge herd. Third down 6 of 16 for Marshall, 2 of 13 for EKU, also edge herd. Penalties, man, it was kind of ugly. It didn't look like it during the course of the game, but
it did to me.
Seeing that there were 15 total penalties, I wouldn't have guessed that. You know,
it did. It was live, man, because every time, I was just like, "There's another one. What's this?"
Yeah. I guess I just didn't get caught up in there being so many after the fact. But at 8 penalties for 75 yards for the herd, gross. 7 penalties for 67 yards for Eastern Kentucky. So I guess you got to edge EKU in the penalty game. And turnovers are a push, 2 apiece. Now that we've gone through that and know that it all added up to a 38-7 victory for Marshall, what did this one feel like inside the stadium as the guys were really kind of putting on a show early and often?
They were putting on a show. Hope this is not too much of a spoiler. It also left me with a ton of questions, even though it answered a ton of questions. And you felt like they just could have done more, but it didn't feel like they intentionally took their foot off the gas. It just felt like they had a little bit of struggles at times. So we'll talk about it when we get to our grades and break it down a little further.
Yeah, I'm going to save all of that discussion. There's going to be probably a good several back and forths with ideas, and I learned a few things too. Actually, I can't say that I learned a few things. Maybe I did, but I think really more accurately is that some things were cemented that I already thought I knew. I'll put it that way. But let's talk about what the guys did. It started on offense with Carlos Del Rio Wilson. He got the start for the Herd, went 7 of 9 for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. Leading rusher in both attempts and yards for the Herd, 13 carries of 58 yards and a touchdown on the ground with a long of 19. Let's see, who was Jaquai Long was the second quarterback in, goes 1 of 5 for just 6 yards. Then 10 carries for 50 yards in his first career touchdown, long of 20 for Jaquai. Michael Allen was the leading rusher from a running back standpoint, 5 carries for 40 yards. Justin Williams-Thomas, 6 carries, 15 yards, but he gets the touchdown on the ground. Add to that 3 receptions for 41 yards and a touchdown with a long of 30. That was a beauty of a play. Was the leader in the clubhouse in receptions and receiving yards for the Herd. And then Adrian Norton, a beauty right before halftime, 1 reception, 30 yards, but man, it was gorgeous. Also gets the touchdown. A couple of quick notes on this one for the Herd offense. 11 ball carriers ran the ball for the Herd. Of course, quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. I think I saw Steve Cotton say that tied a program record for the number of ball carries. It's been done 2 other times, I believe. Total team rushing yards, 263. Dude, that's the sauce. That's what's going to get it done in this early part of the season. And then they exploded for a 17-point first quarter. We talked about this in the preview. They needed to get something going early and fast, and the 17-point first quarter will definitely do that. Let's flip it over, talk defense. Cannon Lewis is the leader, 9 total tackles, 2 solo, half a tackle for loss, and half a sack. Kerryon Martin, 6 total tackles, 1 solo, 1.5 tackles for loss, and also a half a sack. Jabril Al-Amin, 5 total tackles, 1 solo, 1.5 tackles for loss, and half a sack, adding on a pass defended. We're going to go down the line just a little bit, not far. Braden Ward, 4 total tackles, 1 solo, 2 tackles for loss, and a sack and a half. Impact plays were huge for the Herd. They had 5 total sacks. I mentioned the 1.5 by Braden Ward and a half each by Cannon Lewis, Kerryon Martin, and Jabril Al-Amin. 2 guys add 1 full sack each, 1 by Cam Smith and 1 by Tyus Martin. 2 interceptions on the day, both by Boogie Trotter, 1 on the first play of the game, and 10 tackles for loss as a team for the Herd, 4 passes defended. Notes for the Herd defense, just 102 yards allowed total to this Eastern Kentucky offense. Just 1 touchdown allowed, and that came on a 14-yard drive after a fumble. Just 11 yards rushing for EKU. We said in the outset that had to be what you focus on, and boy, they piled up and just made it known you are not going to run the football on this Herd defense today. And then last but not least, they caused the quarterback change just 18 minutes into the game. I kind of felt bad, but then again, I kind of didn't, because that's the kind of thing we needed to see. Let's talk special teams really quick. Lorcan Quinn goes 1 of 2 on field goals. He hits one from 19, 5 of 5 on extra points. Nathan Totten has 4 punts on the day, 44.5-yard average. 2 land inside the 20, and he's got a long of 59. Floyd Lacey continues to do damage in the punt return game. 4 total punt returns on the day for 72 yards. That's an 18-yard average, but one of them went for 43. The dude is going to break one sooner or frickin' later. I just feel it. Russ, let's revisit our keys to victory before we start talking about grades. What was that number 1 key to victory for you?
Score in all caps with an exclamation point. I'm giving it a green check right there. You had 31 points at the half.
I think it's That was an unbelievable outpouring at the half. 31 points was awesome. My number one key to victory, if you remember, I said it was an attitude thing. You got to be the bully. And, man, I give them a check mark for that. They dominated from the first defensive play all the way really through 3 quarters, and it kind of got a little, whatever, but the game was well in hand through 3 quarters at least. What was your number 2?
It was stop the run, and I think no matter if you take the lost yardage from sacks out or not, it was going to be an incredible performance. But 11 yards total when you consider the sack yards is just ridiculous. Obviously, they get a check there.
Yeah. Conversely, I said you got to run the ball, and Marshall absolutely did that. 11 ball carriers, nearly 300 yards. I mean, 263 yards of team rushing. They did it. You didn't know who was going to do it. They kept fresh legs coming in. A lot of guys got their carries. Judah Price at the end of the game comes in. I didn't think I would see that on the day, and he comes in, gets 7 carries and running really hard. I think there's a lot to like about that kid. This was a pretty good attitude game in the run game. You know, I think I'm not saying they're listening, but the fans are all kind of saying, why aren't we running the ball more? Why aren't we running the ball more? And we ran the ball more. What was your number 3 this past week?
Must be convincing in all aspects of the game. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching. I think that we were. I could be a little anal on that and say 3/4 of a check mark or something because of some things we'll talk about in the grades, but it's a check mark. You know, you nailed it on offense, scoring 38 points, 31 in the first half. No matter what the production looks like on a couple of things, you nailed it there. Defense, you obviously nailed it. You held them to 7, and that was on a very short field after a turnover in the red zone for them, putting them in the red zone. And special teams was really good on a lot of different things. So I got to give him a full check on that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really – you can if you choose to. But these missed field goals, while they suck, you got to remember this is a guy playing American football for the first time ever. So he's learning kind of to kick field goals in game speed competition, and he's still nailing them from 50.
Well, and that one went over the goalpost. It was, it was just a foot wide or 3 feet wide, whatever it ended up being, but it went over the top of the goalpost.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have to learn on the shorter ones, that he does not have to kick it 65 yards because he can.
Yeah.
He can.
Yeah. You definitely, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, but it doesn't matter if he's lining up from 20 or 60. It's like same leg power. You're getting it all, brother. Like grip it and rip it, man. My number 3 key to victory was I needed to see disciplined defense, and I feel like I saw that. The opponent was a notch down from the previous 2 weeks, but still, I needed to see that these guys could swarm. I mean, the run game, that front, at 6 or 7 at times was nearly impenetrable in the run game. It was really nice to see. I felt like I was watching vintage Herd defenses that being so dominant in the run game. It felt really good to see that. Secondary had a big bounce back game. Of course, Boogie Trotter led the way on that with 2 picks, but they all bounced back. They did really well. And even with a change of quarterback that they probably didn't scout very much. And he came in and was an instant spark to that EKU offense. Instant spark. Those guys remained resilient and played their game. And Boogie Trotter said that in the post game. They and Cannon Lewis, I believe, echoed that. It didn't change anything for them. They were playing their game and going to make EKU beat them. They couldn't do it. What was your number 4?
I didn't have one. I only had 3.
Okay, so my number 4 was, like I said in the preview, do not confuse my number 4 with my number 1 of being the bully. I said you got to leave no doubt. I don't think you can say the Herd left a doubt in who was the better team in this game. Did they leave doubts on the field of what more they could have done? Yeah, I think they did. But in this game, they left no doubt who was the more talented team, who was the superior team in this game. So 4 checks for me in this one. And it sounds like
3.
2 and damn near, if not 3
No,
for you.
I gave all 3. I said I could be anal, but I decided not to. I
Yeah.
went with 3.
Awesome. So let's move into some grades, man. This is really the fun part of the show anyway. Let's start with the quarterbacks. We did see all 3. We figured we would see all 3. I'm not even questioning like the order or anything. I don't even know if that really matters in this game, but we did see all 3. All 3 produced in various ways. What do you got for the quarterbacks?
Individually, Carlos Del Rio Wilson gets an A. It's not an A plus, and I'm not dinging him for only throwing the ball 9 times because that was kind of the game plan.
Yeah.
So you can't really say that he just decided to tuck and run when there was nobody open. He does not get the A plus because that wide open Turner Bradshaw for the first drive of the game, he had him there and just underthrew it by about 3 yards, hit the guy in the helmet or the back or something like that.
Oh, in the end zone, you mean?
In the end zone,
yeah.
In
the end zone,
yeah. I had him wide open, and we'll talk more about that when we talk about the offense on its grade and stuff like that. There were a couple of plays that I felt like the other one, that one, and when he hit the completion to Toby Payne for 18 yards on the seam, Toby kind of had to lay out for that. If he hits him in stride, that's a touchdown. Now, he ended up getting the touchdown later to Norton before the half, but that's one of those that you really want to see him. And you talk about splitting hairs. We're talking about he got an A here. I'm telling you why his performance with 3 touchdowns, no turnovers, didn't get an A plus.
Right. Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. I think Carlos Del Rio Wilson played a really great game, especially we didn't see him at all last week, and we only saw him for 2, maybe 3 series against Georgia.
I was thinking 2 series.
It was very limited playing time.
Three passes.
For him to come in and get the start in this game, which wasn't utterly surprising, right? Because the previous 2 quarterbacks had both started a game. And I'm not saying it's one of those like, well, it was just his turn thing, but neither guy grasped a stranglehold on the job, So you might as well give Del Rio Wilson an opportunity to grasp the job. I think he played really, really well, and
definitely
not not really something that most people are probably thinking about is that as they focus on the shuffling of quarterbacks, it's the rhythm with the receivers. So that's why you see that pass to Payne, fall a little short. The Bradshaw's a little short. It's because these guys are all trying to get number 1 reps, and it's the chemistry is just not as great as you would like it to be through 3 games. I've got really no complaints. He showed me beautiful touch on that pass to Norton. Norton made a great catch to keep a foot in bounds. I mean, it was great on both ends of the play. So the running ability, that's why you get the start in that one. I feel like he's a load to bring down. I think he did a great job in his first start, and let's face it, first quarterback to start a game this season and win, and that means something. So how about Jaquan Long?
Yeah, I gave Long a C plus, and I'm not putting that. I mean, yeah, he fumbled, but I mean, he got hit 3 or 4 different times, wide open, nobody even blocking, touching the guy. Came in on the blind side and hit. Very unfortunate, but that's not why he got the C plus on here. He was a little shakier, went 1 for 5. Running the ball did very well. In fact, one of those got called back, or it would have been even more. He got a rushing touchdown. So, he produced and everything. I feel like maybe if he would have gotten more reps to throw, if they would have called more passing plays, maybe he would have got into more of a rhythm. But overall, C plus, just because there wasn't a lot of production there to judge. He didn't have a bad game per se. And again, that I don't know who holds onto that ball when you just get absolutely blindsided in your back. Not a finger touched that guy, and that was not the only time. He actually got rid of the ball one other time, barely, and got hit even harder on that one. And you're talking about a split-second difference there, that would have been a fumble if his arm wouldn't have been going forward. So I'm not putting those directly on him. It's not like he went out there and threw it right into a guy for an interception. But the C plus is just because there wasn't a lot of production when he was in, as far as throwing the ball and overall moving the offense along like Del Rio Wilson did.
Yeah, I'm not trying to throw salt in the wound here, but obviously 1 of 5 is never going to get it done in any game. And I made the comment during the game as I was watching, I was tweeting, and I said, yeah, he broke off that big run that was called back, and then he had a couple of other smaller runs before the touchdown.
Right.
And I tweeted, this is what's going to help him acclimate to the game quickly.
Yeah.
Using the legs, like go with the strength of this team, right? And then the passing will probably come. It most certainly will come. It's going to take reps, but right now I think when you're acclimating to the speed of the game, which he still is, you got to just utilize the legs and utilize the run game, because it worked with 10 carries for 50 yards. I mean, that's pretty damn good, you know? And he gets the 20-yard run. You mentioned he had one called back. I mean, he could have been flirting with being the leading rusher on this team had that not gotten called back. It's a fair grade. The kid's young. Yeah. He just needs reps.
And let's say that those two guys just have somebody chip them or put a finger on him to delay it just a second. Maybe he doesn't have the turnover. Maybe he doesn't have, the ball that, that was one incompletion that, thank goodness it was not intercepted. Thank goodness it was not a fumble, because he did get the ball out. That's 2 plays there that maybe his production looks totally different. But right now it's a C plus, just looking at the grade. I mean, looking at the stats.
Funny note, though, both of the first 2 quarterbacks that entered the game had a pass get defended by an opposing player's helmet. Del Rio Wilson and Long both had one. But hey, it is what it is. It didn't come back to bite you. It just took potentially a touchdown off the board for Del Rio Wilson. What about Zion Turner to close out the game? He played the 4th. I think he played all of the 4th.
I think he came in the second series of the 4th. I don't think that he played the full thing, but you're right. He did close out the game. I've got him with a C right in the middle. He had that fumble down inside the red zone. That one was more on him. The guy just came up and stripped it. I mean, you just got to tuck that away, especially when you're that close to the end zone. No one scored for us when he was in. Now, I also don't think that, again, they took the foot off the gas and said, don't score, because we were driving with him and got down to the 4 or 5 yard line when he did that. So it's a C. He didn't have a single pass attempt, so you can't give him a really good grade. You can't ding him. You can't reward him for that. So he's just kind of right in the middle there with the C.
Yeah, that's obviously going to be on the play calling and the scenario of the game. The game's well in hand. There's no need to be passing, even though you need to see it from these guys still. It's like, just run the ball, man, and make them tackle you. Unfortunately, he drove them down the field, but turned the ball over on like the 3 or 4 yard line. Yeah. That just sucked. It was a gut punch type thing. I wanted him to be able to score. Maybe not him, whoever. I wanted this offense to score a touchdown with all 3 of our guys behind the center. I thought that would have been really great. Plus, it would have pushed him over that 40-point threshold that you and Jed were really hoping was going to happen. Felt really good about it. And it was about to happen. You're 10 feet away from that happening. But that's fair. So overall, for the quarterback play as a whole, what do you got?
I'd say you'd have to say A minus or B plus. But, again, no turnovers through the air. Not a lot of passes to look at. Only had 14 during the game. I'd probably go B plus. And we had 2 quarterbacks with fumbles. For
me, it was a tale of 2 halves, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So Del Rio Wilson's grade did all of the heavy lifting. Long was able to get himself a touchdown, made some plays. Turner made some plays, but 31-point first half versus a 7-point second half is really a difference. So I'm leaning more into that like C plus thing, and it's just a lot. It was front loaded, and we saw some plays. Those plays just didn't always equate to points, and that's kind of what they have to do, if you're hoping to, win some football games, especially some tight games. If you're, in those,
I think that is very, very fair. And if I had time to break it down like by the halves, maybe I would have done it differently. Just looking overall, when you're looking at the quarterbacks that accumulated, again, it was all Del Rio Wilson through the air, but they accumulated 4 touchdowns. I yeah, I'll stick with my B plus. I could have went to a B minus, C plus, or whatever, especially on the points you made, but I'm happy with mine.
Sure. Offensively as a whole, let me run back through the stats again. 377 total yards, over 34 minutes of time of possession, 21 first downs, 263 yards. I mean, on and on and on. This is a pretty good offensive performance. What do you got?
I got a B, and I almost went lower than that. And here's where I am picky. We had those 2 turnovers like we just talked about. We had a 4th and 2 where we actually lost yardage. We had a 3rd and 1 to get us down to the goal. You couldn't just – I know they kicked the field goal at that point, but, I felt like we should have gotten it in before it got to that point.
Sure.
There were several different times that you're going up against, no offense to EKU, but a team that is struggling, and we did not really move the ball a couple of times. And you only had 4 punts, but that's still 4 punts that you had to have. You get down to the goal line, you fumble one of them. You get down to the goal line, you have to settle for 3. And it wasn't like we marched 90 yards down the field to do it. We started at the 24 and the 18 against an FCS opponent for our first 2 drives, and we came away with 3 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
3 points.
It's disappointing.
Yeah. Now, we maybe, I don't know, maybe the rest of it balances it out, but I feel like I'm trying to do some of that balance and giving them a B. Is that balance for me? I was also disappointed to see yet another illegal formation.
Illegal formation,
yeah. Yeah, that's at least the 4th one on the year in 3 games.
Yeah.
And I tell you another one too. Del Rio Wilson on the reverse that went to Bradshaw. He went to block the second guy after he saw that he missed the first guy, and the first guy just went back there, and we had a 10-yard loss on the play. I feel like if he gets just in the way of that guy, that's not a 10-yard loss. Maybe it gets back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe he breaks it for a long run, because he was kind of out in the open field if he could get past that guy. I know a couple other guys came right behind him, but it was that first guy getting on there. He just ran right by Del Rio Wilson, who looked like, oh, yeah, I was supposed to block. So there was just a little things here and there that I felt like the wide receivers weren't doing enough job of getting open on some of the routes and things like that to give us better chances to hit them on these pass plays. So there was some things that I wanted to clean up, and yeah, that's being picky, but daggone it, there's some things that if we do that against a non-FCS team, that could really hurt us.
Oh, it will hurt you, because there's not going to be too many games out there that picking off two passes in the first quarter, you're setting yourself up early. If you do that, you can't come away with points. If you score on those plays, you're looking at a 50-point potential here. And you left a lot on the field. There were some things that, again, that 4th down call just looked like it was doomed from the get-go. I despised the double reverse call. I just felt there was no need for a trick play at all. You're doing well running between the tackles and just traditional run play. So there were things that were just, I'm like, what? Why are we getting cued here, man?
Let's talk about that tush push 4th and 2 here for a second. I went back and did the rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
And Meeks, who is the center and snapped the ball, fired off the line of scrimmage. The other 4 were like a half second behind. It felt like the timing was off of the entire thing. And the defensive line is, of course, reacting to Meeks. So they get the leverage, and they just won the line of scrimmage, and we had nowhere to go. I mean, you're trying to push against guys that are getting pushed back into you. Can that play work? Yeah. I thought maybe we could have ran it on that 3rd or 4th and 1 instead of going for a field goal. But the 4th and 2, just the execution was bad. But you're right, it was doomed from the start.
It looked so those plays to me are plays that are you're quick to the line and you're quick to snap it. It's just go, go, go. And it felt like I was watching, like the announcers had time to go, looks like we're going to do a tush push here. And, 4, 3, 2, 1, and snap the ball. So it's like, this is not a very high urgency, quick to the line, quick snap play. It just felt like it took forever and it was doomed before it even got going. And of course, I didn't go back and do a rewatch. And for you to say what you saw out of the offensive line, that's a great reason why it was doomed from the get-go. But overall, I'm still happy. It's 38 points. It was a great first half. I needed to see some more signs of life in the second half. So win's a win. I'll take the production. I like the spreading around in the run game. Need to see a little bit more in the pass game. But it's hard to get mad at 38 points and all of them coming from the offensive side. Now, they were set up sometimes by the defense, but all of them came from the offensive side of the ball, and I'll take it. What do you got for the defense?
A+. 11 yards rushing, 102 overall, 2 interceptions early in the game, 5 sacks, 12, was it, tackles for loss?
10 tackles for loss,
10
and
tackles.
4 passes defended.
Yeah. Just an all-around really good game. The one touchdown, the one scoring that they gave up was they got the ball on the 14-yard line. And there were some things that, there were some drops by the guys. There were some missed interceptions by our guys. And, we had some guys wide open. But I think those felt so glaring because that was the only thing that anybody ever did against them. When they completed a pass that went for 12 yards, your immediate reaction is like, where were you on that one? And then you're sitting here thinking, you can't get them all.
Yeah.
They gave up 91 yards through the air, 11 on the ground. They had all these impact plays. That's an A+ all day long, brother.
I'd like to say that even late in the game is when these guys finally pushed over that 100-yard mark. It was very much in question if they would do. They had 5 yards rushing until like one of their final possessions, and they managed to get like 3 yards here and 3 yards there. And I thought, man, it would have just been awesome to see like a 5-yard rush total. That would have been really cool.
So here's the deal. We could go backwards on the drive chart, and I'll do just that. 3 plays for 6 yards, that put them over the 100 yards.
Yeah.
That was their last one with, 6 minutes to go in the game, 5 minutes when they punted. The one before that, 3 plays, 5 yards, 3 plays, 5 yards. The fourth quarter, they had 3 and outs with 5, 5, and 6 yards.
Right. See? I mean, it was it was a dominating performance. And by that time, you're looking at the 2s and some of the 3s in there. And I would also like to point out that even on plays where there was not an impact play per se that you can chart, and I'm thinking of one play in particular, it did not go down as a sack, but Paul Hudson obliterated the quarterback on one of those pass plays. Like, I felt bad for that kid because that was a hell of a hit. And
is that the one that he got called for roughing or whatever?
I don't think he got called for it. No, I don't think he got called for it. On the one I'm talking about.
Okay, on the rewatch, he did, and that put them down. That might have been when they missed the field goal. I think it was. But no, that might have been that might have been on the touchdown. He hit that guy. And it was on. Yeah, it was when they got the touchdown through the air. The pass play, he hit the guy, and that gave them 15 on the kick.
Yeah.
So that's the one I'm thinking of. That was not the same one that you're talking about.
I'm thinking the one that I'm thinking of, I believe, was really close to the Shuey end zone. So it would have been right in front of whoever was on the deck, but it was brutal. And awesome.
that play too was in front of the deck, and I was on the deck 2 games in a row. I've found my way on the deck, and this one was courtesy of Mr. Jed Horton. So, Jed, thank you. But 2 for 2 on not sitting on my my own seats and being up there in the deck. And I'll just give a quick commercial. Get tickets to the deck. It's great.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm with you though. It's an A+ performance. That this game, for all intents and purposes, could have been a shutout had there not been a easy short field for the EKU offense. It was a great performance, and Cannon Lewis continues to impress. Every game he's getting better and better and better. He's playing faster, more instinctual. This is awesome. Like, buy stock now in this kid, because he's going to be a super stud. Maybe before the end of this year, but definitely he'll be one of the bigger named stars in Huntington next year. Special teams.
I got a B+. You missed a chip shot field goal, but you blocked a punt partially. But that gave us great field position. You had the 43-yarder plus some other good returns by Floyd Lacey. Did get another field goal in there. Totten just continues to obliterate the ball. Give us a really good when we did have to punt here, just flip the field, put them in a bad situation where our defense was already stifling them and just helped us more. It's that missed field goal that brings us down, and slight ding on Lacey for muffing that one punt.
Ooh, yeah.
But we recovered. And otherwise, this grade would have been a little worse.
Yep, I forgot about that, but still, very fair grade. I got no complaints other than trying the field goal kicker, trying to work through the kinks. That'll come, man. It's just lucky that, it bit us last week. We needed that field goal. We didn't get it. And I'm not going to say it cost us this game, because there was a lot more plays in that game against Missouri State that could have ultimately won the game for Marshall. But you just need, when you got an opportunity to score points, you need to score points, no matter who the opponent is, no matter, how many points you already have. You just need to do it. What do you got for the coaching staff?
I got a B+. I don't know a lot of this. The penalties were a little bit, you want to see those dialed back, especially against an FCS opponent and things. But we ran the ball 20% of the time. 80% of the time through 20% of the time. I would have liked to have seen us in a game where we could actually see a little bit more of, let's throw the ball and see what we got, especially when it was out of hand. I feel like that was a great time that, what does it hurt to try to do that? And we didn't. A lot of our throws came that right before half when we kind of had to. There were 4 in a row. One of them got called back. It didn't count. But the 4th and 1 on the goal line, it's early in the game, but you kind of have to feel like go for it. If you don't get it, barring some kind of weird fumble, scoop, and score, you're going to have them on the 1 yard line. I would have liked to have seen us gone for it. The 4th and 2, I'm fine with us going for it. I just felt like that play, like what you said, it was just maybe that wasn't the call. So there was a couple little things there. It's really easy for me to be a podcast coach because I'm not on the sidelines, and you take the most or least inexperienced or least experienced guy on that coaching staff, a GA that's in there getting credits, knows 1 million more about coaching a college team than I do. But I have to say some of those things were areas that I would say, why didn't we do this? So that's why they're a B+ instead of an A.
Yeah, it's fair. I would have much rather have gone for it on 4th and 1. I see why they didn't. It's like, hey, let's just get some points on the board early.
Right.
Let's just get that out of the way right now. And I'm with you. I don't mind going for it on a 4th and 2. Maybe not that call. When you've got a stable of running backs that you have on this team, why do it with a tight end? No offense to Toby Payne. He can get you 2 yards most of the time. The play just didn't work. But
it wasn't Payne. It was Del Rio Wilson that ran it. Payne was pushing him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I knew I see an 81 in there. But anyway, why do that? Why, there's got to be plenty of plays in the playbook to get you 2 yards. I don't know. But my biggest, I think, question mark for the decision was coming out at halftime. You've got a big lead. I got it. I get it. You don't, Del Rio Wilson had already been taken out of the game for a potential scary injury and put back in. So I also understand why you don't put him straight back in there. If that didn't happen, you probably see Del Rio Wilson play at least the first drive of the second half if he doesn't have the injury scare. But I was thinking, the gas just kind of did get let up to start the second half. And I mean, the scoreboard shows that as well. 7 points, for the second half. But I get they did it because of the injury scare, I imagine. You also wanted to get the younger guys or the other guys some playing time. But I would have loved to have seen the gas just stay pressed until the end of the third quarter, before you start trying to get some extra rep in there.
You mentioned seeing number 81 and seeing Payne, and that reminded me of something that I left out of the special team score. We downed the ball on the 1 yard line and Payne was the guy that did that. He wasn't the only guy going down there to do that. We had a really, really, really good coverage on that one, and we almost came away with the safety because of that. So instead of them starting on the 20, who are already struggling to pick up any yardage whatsoever in a series, they had to start on the 1.5.
1.5, yeah.
So, yes, that was a really, really good play by special teams there.
And, that was a heads-up play because it's not that Payne had quit on it. It's just that he kicked it in gear because he saw an opportunity to maybe get to that ball, and he was just able to do it. So, excellent heads-up play with a little extra effort from Toby Payne in that one. How about the fans for this one?
Hey, it was EKU. It was coming off a bad loss, and we still had over 23,000 there, and a lot of people were celebrating the team instead of trying to pile on. So I give him an A.
Yeah, nothing but an A. It was very not overly positive, but more positive than I thought I would see as I was live tweeting, and just being on the timeline. There was not a whole lot of super big complaining, really. It was nice. And for 23, damn near 24,000 people to show back up, and after a bad loss, to continue supporting and saying, hey, we're still behind you, let's get one. They needed it, and the herd came through for them. And what more can you ask for? Overall on the weekend, what do you got?
It was an A. It was great weather. It was a good win. Obviously, you would like to have seen an A+ and have zero complaints about any of these things that happened here. You also would have liked to have had no hiccups on frying your chicken, but we were about an hour and a half behind due to some technical errors and planning that will not happen again. But other than that, it was a great tailgate too.
You're missing Kyle Walker.
No. I have to.
No, we are not. No,
I have to tell you, because of logistics reasons. I mean, I can't take my work truck over there. I've got a 4Runner. We had it packed to where you could not put a sheet of paper in there, so I didn't take my propane burner and my tank and all that. So I actually bought an electric induction hot plate. And I take it over there, and I had looked at 2 different hot plates, and the one that I went to buy, obviously bought the other one without looking. The one worked with any stainless steel pot. The other one had to be magnetic bottom, and my stainless steel pot did not work with the hot plate. So we had to go get my cast iron Dutch oven to be able to do it. Put us about an hour and a half behind, put us into a bind, so we were late getting the chicken out. It's all on me, but it wasn't because we didn't have Kyle Walker. I could have taken the propane tank over there. I could have done all that, and I could have had 500 pounds of chicken out, and did not need Kyle Walker for that.
All right, who's your offensive MVP for the week?
It's Del Rio Wilson. He had 3 touchdowns. It wasn't like his stats exploded off the page because no one's really did in this, but he threw a nice ball and an even better catch by Norton. But 3 touchdowns, leading rusher, leading passer, nothing more you can say.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. Whenever you are the leading passer and leading rusher and account for 3 touchdowns and no turnovers, you're the offensive MVP. Who do you got for your defensive guy?
This one was tough because I could have picked anyone. I want to throw shouts out to Cannon Lewis. I want to throw shouts out to Braden Ward. I want to throw shouts out to a bunch of guys, but it's got to be Boogie Trotter for me for getting 2 early interceptions that just really set the tone. It knocked their quarterback out of the game, basically. It wasn't big sacks that were taking him out because he was getting his bell rung too much. It was because he was ineffective and he had 2 turnovers, and Boogie made 2 really good plays.
Yep, I think I'm with you. This impactful plays there early in the game ignited the Joan C. Edwards Stadium crowd, kept the crowd engaged for, gosh, the better part of the entire first quarter. And then by the time second quarter came around, it was, quarterbacks out. Now you got all that vibe going. Other guys are making plays, sacks galore. So by then the crowd stayed into it. It was good, but I got to give the edge to Boogie Trotter. Just a great individual game for him, and only notched 1 tackle on the day, but the 2 interceptions really just offset everything. Who's your special teams player?
Well, you could start naming this the Nathan Totten Award, but I'm going with Lacey. He had that 43-yarder that almost went to the house, and it's just so close. I feel like this is a good time, too, to say, put that guy out there at wideout.
Why not?
I'm telling you, I mean, the guy has explosive tendencies, and the guy just seems to have a nose for how to get into the open field, So if you can get him the ball out there on, I don't care if it's a quick slant, a screen route, a double move, or whatever. It just seems like that would be a weapon that we should have out there. But for right now, I'm enjoying watching him run on those punt returns. I'd just like to get him a couple more touches a game.
Yeah, I love watching Floyd Lacey run. It is a matter of time. He is going to take one back at some point in this season. I got to stick with Mr. Consistency. Give me Nathan Totten again. Another great punting day. He just continues to show up to work every week and do his damn job. And that is freaking awesome, because a punter that is very effective like he is can win and or lose games for you. He's just been phenomenal all year. So give me Nathan Totten. You got any final words on this one?
Only the thing that you and I need to talk about, if you want to do that right now.
Let's talk about that.
All right. So we have a herd follower, herd listener / watcher. Not really sure how he consumes the podcast, if it's on YouTube or audio, but he reached out to me and he said, Russ, I am not going to be able to use my 2 passes to the deck. And you just heard me say how great it was.
It is awesome.
That on homecoming, October the 18th, I'm not going to be able to use them. Gentleman's name is Greg Bunner, and he said, I would like for you to use them, or if you choose, I really liked what you said, or KD said actually, about the cheerleading fund, their championship fund. And I said, Greg, I appreciate this. I'd much rather it go to them. And he said, I was hoping, that we could do something for them. So his idea to do this, and I have right here, I'll put them in front of my face. Gorgeous as it is, let's cover them up with these.
Yeah.
2 deck passes, and because he got 2 deck passes, you also have a parking pass to the 3rd Avenue garage. And we would like someone that watches or listens to our show to be able to win those. But we're doing what Greg suggested and trying to get money for the Cheerleaders Championship Fund. So if you make a $25 donation, every $25 donation that you make, individual $25 donations will be an entry. So you need to reach out to the Big Green, either click on the Championship Fund link under the Cheerleaders tab when you go to sports, or call the Big Green office. Get with us. Let us help you get there. However you do it, make your donation. You'll get a receipt. You can forward that to our email, ThunderCast.Pod@gmail. You can send me a screenshot, KD a screenshot, whatever, on our social media, and that will enter you into this drawing. We're going to draw this on October the 11th when the Monarchists are in town. We'll do it during ThunderCast Live, powered by ignite.link. That gives you a full week to know that you've got the deck passes. We're not going to wait and say we're going to draw them the day of or anything like that. That way you can make plans. KD, you got anything else about this?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that you need to make your donation to the Cheerleading Championship Fund, not just to the Big Green General Scholarship Fund. It needs to be sport-specific giving to the Cheerleaders Championship Fund. I will put the link in the description to the episode, both on YouTube and on the audio versions. I don't know if the links show up like as a hyperlink. You might need to just copy and paste, but it's also really easy to find. You can Google Marshall Cheerleading Championship Fund, and you're going to get a link to send you to it. It's under sport-specific giving. When you get to the landing page, they have like one for football and basketball, but at the bottom, you'll have sport-specific giving, and cheerleading should be at the top. I made a personal donation the other day. I am not in the running for these passes. I just said that I would do it, and I did it, and I'm encouraging others to do it as well. But this is an unbelievably awesome giveaway, thanks to a very generous listener of the show. And you should experience at least one game from the Dutch Miller deck. It's a very, very cool vantage point, and you can get downfield level, and we've all been through all that. Yeah. Each $25 donation, individual $25 donation, is an entry. And we, like Russ said, we will draw live on ThunderCast Live, the home game of the ODU game, next home game. So roughly 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. You've got time to get your make your donations. He said you can screenshot your receipt, send it to the podcast DM, ThunderCast.pod at gmail.com. Like, we'll make it known. You know, we want to keep track of everybody. So get in on this. This is really cool. This is a double whammy. You get to help the herd, and you get an opportunity to see the game from a really, really cool place. So we appreciate everybody that chooses to take part in this giveaway, and somebody's going to have one hell of a cool prize.
Yeah, we're going to make it as transparent as we absolutely can on that drawing. And there we'll have someone else, an uninterested party there, making that selection, not by looking at a name or whatever. They're just going to help us out with that to oversee it again. So it's all on transparency. But this is unbelievable. If you had to put a value on each one of those, just take $2,500 for one of them, divide it by 6, you're going to get around $417. So it's an $834 value for
not
both
counting
of these,
parking,
not counting the parking pass. I don't know if those are like $25, $40. I don't know what they are in that parking garage, but you got free parking and 2 free deck passes. It's great. Worst case scenario, you don't win. You really help the cheerleaders out, and they need it.
Yeah, and to add to that, obviously, the ThunderCast always has free tailgates, so you could potentially win 2 Dutch Miller deck passes, a free parking pass, and be able to come over and tailgate and hang out with Russ and the guys, and I'll be down here in Tampa hanging out and eat some cool food and meet some cool people and have a good time. So please click the link in the descriptions, copy and paste it, whatever you got to do, enter the contest. We're going to keep talking about this over the next couple of weeks, but those of you that hear it first are going to be able to take part first. Spread the word. Do us another favor. Spread the word. Tell everybody about this, because at the end of the day, we're helping the cheerleading squad out. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right, man. If you got nothing else, let's take it out of here.
Yeah, whether you see us at the Joan, whether you see us at the Jack, or whether you see us heading down to Murfreesboro, which I hope to be doing this weekend. No matter where you see us, we're going to be saying, go Herd.
Go Herd. It's the ThunderCast. We'll see you in a couple days for a Middle Tennessee State preview. Later.